Are cheat meals actually good for your diet? This is one of the most controversial topics in all of nutrition. You hear some people say that cheat meals are completely fine to have from time to time. And then you hear other people say they're the worst thing since sliced bread and will completely ruin your progress. So who is right? Well, like with most things in nutrition, it's not black or white. It depends on many factors, including what your goals are, how long you've been dieting, and what you consider a cheat meal. With that said, let's go over the pros and cons of having cheat meals so you can decide for yourself if they're good or bad for your diet. Before we get into the potential benefits of a cheat meal, we first need to ask ourselves, what actually is a cheat meal? To keep things simple, I define a cheat meal as any meal where you don't follow your normal portion sizes, or you eat foods that you typically avoid on your diet. For example, if you're on a low-carb diet like keto, but then you go out and have a burger and fries, that would be considered a cheat meal because you're going way above your normal carb limit and including a less healthy carb source. Or perhaps you're someone that's trying to cut calories and you restrict yourself to 2,000 calories per day, but then you go out and have a 3,000-calorie pizza all to yourself. That, too, would be considered a cheat meal. In this case, you're going above your daily calorie limit. But even if you were doing a non-restrictive diet, like a normal healthy eating plan, anything that goes against what you normally eat could still be considered a cheat meal. Like maybe you're someone that eats very clean, only preparing your own meals with fresh ingredients, but then you go out and eat fast food. That would also be considered a cheat meal because you're deviating from your typical eating habits. So now that we know what a cheat meal is, let's go over some of the potential benefits. First, cheat meals can help reset your metabolism. One reason why people gain weight while on a diet is due to something called metabolic adaptation. Metabolic adaptation refers to the change in your resting metabolic rate that occurs when you reduce the amount of calories you consume. As you restrict calories, your body responds by lowering your metabolic rate, which makes it harder to lose weight. Now, there is no magic number when it comes to how much you need to restrict your calories by before metabolic adaptation occurs. The more aggressive you are with your calorie restriction, the more likely you are to experience metabolic adaptation. But the reverse is also true. If you're only in a slight calorie deficit, you may not experience metabolic adaptation at all. However, even if you are very aggressive with your calorie restriction and do experience metabolic adaptation, don't worry because cheat meals can help. By periodically consuming more calories than usual, you'll stop an adaptive reduction in your metabolic rate. This isn't just theory either. There was a study that found that even if you overeat after a period of dieting, you're still able to lose body fat as long as your average calorie intake for the entire week is still in a deficit. Specifically, the researchers found that their overweight participants were able to lose almost double the amount of fat during the overeating intervention days compared to the days where they followed a calorie-restricted diet. On top of that, these increased overeating days did not lead to any additional weight gain. Next, cheat meals can make dieting easier to stick to. Let's face it, dieting isn't fun. Severely restricting your calories or cutting out entire food groups can make you feel deprived, which often leads to binging and overall poor diet quality. On the other hand, if you allow yourself to have a cheat meal every once in a while, you'll look forward to it making it easier to stay on track with your diet during the times that you're not cheating. And you're not alone. A study found that people that went on a diet where they were allowed to have a weekly pizza night were more successful at losing weight and keeping it off compared to those that followed a more restrictive diet without any pizza. Another study had similar findings. They took a group of obese women and put them on a weight loss diet where they were told to consume whatever they wanted 3 times a week. The remaining 4 days of the week they were instructed to follow a calorie-restricted diet. After 6 months, these women lost significantly more weight than another group of women that followed a calorie-restricted diet with no leeway. What's interesting about this study is that both groups consumed the same amount of calories over the course of the 6 months. The only difference was that the intervention group had 3 days a week where they were not calorie-restricted. From these studies, It seems that allowing yourself to have cheat meals from time to time can help you lose weight and keep it off long term, especially if you tend to struggle with dieting. Of course, if you're someone that doesn't struggle with sticking to a diet, you won't really need cheat meals to help you out. You can just stick to a strict diet and reach your goals without ever having to cheat. Now that we've discussed the potential benefits of cheat meals, let's talk about the drawbacks. One of the main problems with cheat meals is that it's easy to overcompensate. For example, if you're trying to cut calories and you usually take in 2,000 calories per day, but then you go out and have a 3,000-calorie cheat meal, that's a pretty big jump from 2,000 to 3,000 calories. Most people aren't able to dial in their calories that precisely. So a better approach is to have several small cheat meals throughout the week instead of one large cheat meal. This way you can still get the mental satisfaction of having dessert or pizza without overdoing it. Another issue with cheat meals is that you may not make the best food choices. When you go out to eat, whether it's fast food, Italian food, Mexican food, or whatever, it's easy to overindulge in tasty high-calorie foods. And while you can certainly choose healthy options when you go out to eat, it's much easier to do when you're cooking at home. So the best solution is to prepare your own food. You can find plenty of healthy recipes online that taste just as good as unhealthy recipes. But one of the biggest problems with cheat meals is that they can lead to a loss of progress. While research shows that occasional overeating won't prevent you from losing weight long term, it can definitely slow down your progress, especially if you're new to dieting. This is because when you first start dieting, you'll lose weight rapidly. This rapid weight loss is mostly water weight, which is very easy to lose. But as you continue to diet, the amount of weight you lose starts to slow down. And that's because your body wants to hold on to some body fat. It takes quite a bit of effort to overcome your body's natural tendency to hold on to some body fat. So if you're new to dieting, it's best to stick to a diet plan and push through that initial feeling of deprivation so you can reap the rewards later. On the other hand, if you've been dieting for a long time and the scale has hit a plateau, a short-term increase in calories along with a deload week in the gym can be beneficial for breaking through that plateau. So, based on everything that we've discussed today, does that mean that you should include cheat meals in your diet? It all depends on your goals and your current diet quality. First, consider your goals. If you're fairly new to dieting and haven't reached your goal yet, it's probably best to stick to a diet plan without any cheat meals until you reach your goals. Once you reach your goals, then you can start including cheat meals if you want to. On the other hand, if you've been dieting for a while and you've hit a plateau, then cheat meals can be beneficial. Just make sure that you don't go overboard. It's best to have several small cheat meals throughout the week instead of one large cheat meal. Also, try to make healthier food choices as much as possible when you do have a cheat meal. The bottom line is that cheat meals aren't necessarily bad, but they're also not necessary for success. So do what works best for you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to stay tuned for more content. And if you'd like any extra help with your diet, check out our website for more information.